Hi everybody, this week we're taking a look at Dreamweaver, and I think it's easier to do that just by using video tutorials rather than trying to wrestle with the software refreshing through a virtual online class. So I'm going to record how you can set up a site in Dreamweaver. Now, in order to use Dreamweaver, you'll have to go to the Adobe site and either download the 7-day trial when you're ready to do the assignment, or go to Creative Cloud if you already have it and add Dreamweaver to your computer or to your desktop or your laptop. So if you're planning on doing this kind of work, I do really recommend taking advantage of the student pricing and trying some of the Creative Cloud pieces. I know that some of you have access to a Creative Cloud license through one of the other classes. And if you don't, again, you can get this to do the 7-day trial, and this assignment only takes a couple of hours. So first thing I'm going to do to get set up for Dreamweaver is to set up my folders. So I'm on my desktop and I'm going to go new folder. This is a one-page project about cycling in Vancouver. So this is my root folder. Inside my root folder, I'm going to have two other folders, one for images and one for PDFs. Now, I don't have the PDFs, but I've already downloaded an image of bicycling in Vancouver, and I'm going to put that in my images folder. It's just on my desktop here. So I'm going to drag that and put it there. And there it is. So I'm going to be using that in this tutorial. The PDF will be something that will let you find yourself. It's of a cycling map of Vancouver, and you'll provide a link to it. Okay, so we have our folders set up so we can go and take a look at Dreamweaver. So what's different about Dreamweaver is that it's a coder's software that is built for designers. So it's for people who both want to code and design at the same time. When you're using Wix and WordPress, pardon me, those platforms are for people who just want to stay in the design mode and don't want to code at all. But that doesn't appeal to everybody. Dreamweaver is considered the premier tool, and it's used by most serious companies doing web design. Now, once you've downloaded Dreamweaver, you're just going to go ahead and open it up. Now, I have included a list of links to other tutorials that are available through the Adobe site that you may find helpful as well. I recommend taking a look at them. They're all very short. Now, once you're here and you've got Adobe Dreamweaver installed, you're going to go and create new. You've got several different choices here, but we're just going to stick with a very basic HTML document because this is just to get you comfortable or familiar with really how Dreamweaver works. So I'm going to call it Cycling in Vancouver. I do have these other choices here. If I had more time, we'd go and look at them, but we're going to pass by them for today and just click on Create. So now we're in Dreamweaver, and here's the beauty of Dreamweaver for people who both like to code and design. It has these three different windows at the top: Code, Split, and Design View. So Code View gives you access to the HTML tags that we had used before, and to type them in right there, if that's your preference. Split View gives you exactly what it says, split window between design and code, so that you can see if you're typing, it'll show up down here. And then finally, Design View, which is what we're going to stay in for this, just shows you the design side of your website. So I'll get you to, when you open it up, it usually opens up in Split, switch to Design. The other thing that I've added here is my Properties window. So to add your Properties window, I'll get you to go up to Window, look for Properties, and then click it to put that check mark next to it so it'll show up. So Windows, Properties. If you look at the Properties bar, you'll see several of the things that we did in HTML: bold, italic, the heading styles. That's where you can link. The document title is in there from the first step. So we have all of those tools available. Now, one of the other things that is so powerful about Dreamweaver is that it defines your site. And all that means is that it will just make sure that everything is getting saved to the right spot. You set it up once, it's a set and forget feature, and then it will just carry on through your project to make sure that things are going in the right spot. So I'm going to click on Site and go to New Site and call this Cycling in Vancouver. Next thing I want to do is point it to that folder that I made in the earlier step on my desktop. So I'm going to scroll up, Desktop, Cycling in Vancouver, and click Select Folder. So there we've got Desktop, Cycling in Vancouver. That's what I want. Now I also want it to know where my images are kept. So I'm going to click on Advanced Settings, Default Images folder, and look for images. And click Select Folder. And it says Cycling in Vancouver Images. That's perfect. And that is pretty much all I need to do here. If I had an actual live URL, I can put it in here so I can upload changes to my site. But we are doing this on our desktop. So I'm going to click Save. Now you'll see on this right-hand side here that the Files tab has changed to show our folder, the Cycling in Vancouver one that I placed on my desktop. So that's what from this point forward, when I go to save things, it will get saved into this folder. If I put other images in, I can pull them in from this folder. So I'm going to expand that so you can see my cycling photo is there, just waiting for me to use it. I didn't download the map, so I'm going to let you try that, but I would put it in that PDF folder there, and then you would be able to see it. All right, hopefully that makes some sense. So that's why we do the site definition. It will make our project much easier as we go along. Now I've already prepared this article for you to work on, so I'm going to go and get it and just do a simple copy paste. So it's just a one-page article, Cycling in Vancouver, and I'm just going to get you to do a little bit of formatting with it. Oops, I'm going to take out that. That gets confusing. The cycling map. It's an old link to the cycling map. They moved it. Copy, go to Dreamweaver, and I'm just going to paste it. So it doesn't have any formatting. You'll need to do put some spaces in. So I'm going to put a title on it. So I'm just going to go through a few techniques here. And I think you'll be able to pick it up from there. So Cycling in Vancouver. I'm going to come down here to Format Paragraph and choose a heading 1 style for that. And then what I'm going to have you do to get some familiarity with Dreamweaver is read through these paragraphs and decide what kind of subheadings should go on them. So I'm going to put in a couple of hard returns here. I'm not going to do the whole thing because it'll take too long. But I think if you do a quick read through here, you'll see how the article shapes out. It's not a long read. So I've got this paragraph here. Most of the growth comes from our support for green transportation initiatives to make cycling and walking more safe, convenient, and comfortable for people of all ages and abilities. So I'm going to put a subheading on this because we've learned from our web writing that subheadings and headings are a big part of teaching people how to write for the web and how people read for the web. So I'm going to put green, whoops. Put my cursor in the right place first. Green transportation initiatives. So that's my first subheading. And again, this isn't going to be a beautiful piece of work that we're doing here. It's not meant to be some stunning visual design project. It's just so that you've had some exposure to, Dreamweaver. That's too big. I meant heading 3. Okay, so I've got one heading there. Whoops, sorry, I keep hitting the wrong key. And then I've got a paragraph underneath it. And then I would continue on down the article just finding different subheadings and maybe seeing if I can edit the text at all to make it a little more readable for the web. And then we get down into this other section for where to find the different bicycle maps if you look through there. So the next thing I'm going to do is put a picture in. So I'm going to hit my enter key here. I'm going to go to insert and look for image. I already had that image and I'm going to insert it. That's a little big for this project. So I'm going to go and find the sizing handles if I can and make it a little bit smaller here. Oops, now it's distorted. So I'm going to take that back out for a sec. I'm going to undo that change and just try to do it a little more elegantly if I can. Probably not the best image, so I would probably go and replace this one. But it will give you an example of what to do. So again, we're not going for aesthetics here. We're going for utility, I guess would be the best way to put it. Okay, so now before I go any further, I want to save this page. So I'm just going to go File, Save, or Control S. And again, because we've defined the site, it just plunks us into the right folder. It is the first page in my website, so I'm going to call it index. I don't need to put in the file extension. It'll just save it as a .html file. And then notice on the right-hand side, there it is. It pops up for you. So you can see your file structure starting to build. Now, as you go through the article, there are some opportunities for linking. So there is a TransLink cycle map. There is a cycling map for Vancouver. And to download the cycling map, I'm just going to go back to Google and I'm going to go cycling map. Oops. Map Vancouver. It's a PDF. That's it. So I'm going to download that. Put it in my PDF folder and then link to it. Now when I go back to Dreamweaver and open up my PDFs folder, it's now in there. So linking to it, I think, is fairly simple with Dreamweaver. I'm going to select the text. I'm going to come down here to where it says link. I'm going to click on this point to file button here. Open up my PDFs and select the PDF. Now, there's a number of different ways to link in Dreamweaver, so that's just one. You may find a couple of others, and really whatever works for you. And there we go. So I've been able to put in a picture, a couple of headings, link to a map, and then I would just carry down throughout the text to see if I can make my headings and my subheadings look better and the formatting a little bit better. Now, if you want to do something like change the font and change the background color of the page, you can come here to Page Properties, and I am going to change the background color a little bit. Pick sort of a mint color. Apply. Yeah, that's okay for what I'm doing. And then click OK. And again, if I didn't like this font, it's kind of not the most attractive screen font I've ever seen. I can come to Page Font and maybe I'll go there. Try that. It's a little better. There's a few things I don't like about it, but it's getting there. And then just continue on. Other options for Dreamweaver. So remembering to save as you go. If a little asterisk appears by the file name, that means it's not saved. You can find other features on the insert menu. the lists, the ordered lists and the unordered lists that we dealt with in HTML if you want to try and put bullets in. Now to just check out what's going on the code side, I'm going to click into code, and here you can see Dreamweaver has been hard at work putting all of this together for us. So we've had to do very, very little. Now I think what I'm going to do is stop this tutorial right here. So that's the extent of the assignment. As I said, it's really just to get you familiar with Dreamweaver, to understand what the tool does, to understand that it has this power of going between code view and design view for people who are really passionate about both modes of creating websites and web designing. I'm going to get you to fiddle around with this assignment a bit. Like I said, it's not judged on aesthetics, it's judged on the fact that you did it. This is just the credit for attending the lecture on Tuesday. All right, so enjoy it, have fun. If you have questions, of course, I'm available, and we'll go from there. Take care.